Hey everyone! Today I'm here with Maurizio, an Unger Academy student since 2020, who is here to tell us about his experience with our training program. Hello Maurizio, how are you?
Hi, Chelsea. Very well, thank you. Everything's fine.
I'm happy you're here to share with us a little about your experience with our training program. First, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do for a living?
All right. Well, I just wanted to say a quick thank you, first of all, for this opportunity because it's always just so interesting to share one's experience. And I really hope that it will be useful to other people as well. My name is Maurizio. I'm from Belluno, and I was born in Agordo, a town in the heart of the Dolomites. So you could say that I'm a mountain lover by birth. Agordo is also famous for the Giro d'Italia, one of the world's most important cycling races. And there are some well-known passes there as well, the Dolomite passes. So I come from that area. Anyway, I didn't always live in Belluno or Agordo. I moved to Trieste to study engineering. So you could say that my academic background is kind of similar to Andrea's. I also stayed in Trieste to work for about 10 years. And then I changed my life completely. I moved to London and then to Moscow. I had some experiences abroad, always studying and working. And then I decided to come back to Italy. My passion for living abroad led me to work as a salesman for some companies. So I then started traveling even more. So I was lucky and I enjoyed it. I've always worked as a technician because, let's say, an engineer is typically seen as a technician in the commercial field, more technical commercial, but always with the goal of selling, let's say. So my experience is in this area, let's say business. But at a certain point, I felt like doing something of my own. And that is where my life as an entrepreneur started, let's say. And so today, I've got different activities that I do also because, let's say, in this day and age, it's always better to have several legs on the table to support the financial part of life.
Diversify.
Exactly. And this is a magical word in trading as well. So, again, I've got something in common with Andrea because I know that he was, in the past, involved in the elevator business, which is also a business that I'm in. I'm specialized in occupational safety. And then I have a company in America where we invest in real estate. And for a couple of years, I've also been trading, which I now consider part of my business. I got into trading out of curiosity because a university friend had a family misfortune. His father passed away, and he had to manage, at the age of 22, 23 years old, all the family assets, which was very important because it was his father's job. And one evening, I remember at dinner, he showed me that he was buying and selling stocks. He started talking to me about things like that, which were unknown to me because, well, I come from the world of electronics, a completely different world. And I was blown away, let's say. And then it gradually disappeared until when in 2016 I said, wait, let's look into this world a little bit. And I decided to follow my first trading course. And basically, this love at first sight, let's say, has proven to be lasting love because since then I've continued this activity by doing courses, studying online, and now you can find so much online. And so I've also become, well, an entrepreneur in the trading sector, which I still consider a job. And that's a bit of my story here, who I am and what I do.
Great, great. What problem did you have before you joined our program?
As I've said, I've always seen trading as a business in its own right, as a job. And also, coming from the corporate world, I was missing a little bit. Let's call it a production model, a working method to do trading. Because all the courses that I used to do, They always made me sit in front of the computer for many hours, looking at candlesticks, charts, indicators, doing crazy calculations down to the millimeter, whether the candlestick went up a little bit or whether it went down a little bit. But it just didn't feel like the right way, you know? I was spending so much time in front of the screen, and it was also taking me away from my other activities. So I felt like something was wrong. And I was really looking for let's call it a business model, if that's an acceptable definition, even though it's strange to use such words in the world of trading. Still, I really lacked a method to be able to run this business efficiently and consistently and also productively. It's a bit like an assembly line. To make something, you have to turn this screw, then that screw, then this other screw, and I used to make all kinds of mistakes when I was trading. And those mistakes made me earn a lot one day and lose a lot the next day. So I was inconsistent, and I knew that I needed a model to find consistency.
So it was Andrea's method that was missing.
Yeah, exactly.
And why did you decide to join our program and not another program?
Well, let's put it this way. At some point, your program even appeared to me in my dreams because I could see it everywhere. As soon as I turned on the computer, the program advertisement appeared, and there was a video or something. So let's just say it was a massive presence. But all jokes aside, when I realized that I was looking for something like this business model, I asked myself some questions and looked at the whole situation from a scientific perspective. Now, we know that 80% of traders lose. This is, let's say, a fact, because even if you open the portals of the brokers, who are required by law to indicate the percentage of average losers in their client base, on average, 80% are losers. And so, given these considerations, well, what's the remaining 20% earning? Well, fortunately, I saw a video of Andrea where he explained precisely this. And it came when I was wondering about these things here. And Andrea, with numbers in hand, so a scientific analysis and not bar talk, explained the different numbers. And so he said that 80% of those trading loses when using these methods, and 20% who make a profit use these other methods. Of that 20%, a small percentage still use other methods, and Andrea's method is one of them. And so that was, let's say, an answer to my question at that time. And then that's probably, yes, fate. Yeah, exactly. And after that, we know that Andrea was a 4-time world trading champion. So I looked to see, well, what were the other world champions doing? What kind of trading were they doing? And I saw that many follow, let's say, Andrea's method. So they're also working with automated systems. The icing on the cake was the honesty, though, that I saw in Andrea's group, in terms of profits as well, in the sense that he didn't promise 100% per month, guaranteed. No. He honestly said, numbers in hand, look, I lost this month. This month I gained instead. So also this honesty here, I think, isn't so easy to find. So it led me to say, yes, maybe I am in the right place.
Great. Was there anything in particular about our program that helped you? I mean, why was it so effective?
Well, absolutely, yes. While studying Andrea's method step by step, I realized that he actually gives a working method, because he tells you, take this, do this, study it like this, backtest. So basically, that was the solution that I was looking for, the production model that I needed, let's say. And that was my main problem with trading at that time. And all the things that they teach you have a logical thread, let's say a sequence or a pattern that very much matched, or rather matches, because I'm still a student anyway, in addition to being a trader, let's say. So, applying the method in live trading. And I still study because it's a world, it's a pretty fascinating world, but it's also an infinite world. And so I have found that beneficial, Among other things, that's a method that comes from planet Earth. Not like those guru things that, tell you to do 70 billion calculations. And no, this is a workable, effective, schematic method of working that has helped me and created a habit. So today, when I sit down and trade, I have habits that I think bring a little bit of success because it's typically like that, right? Doing and repeating, doing it wrong, understanding why you did it wrong, doing it again, and so on. So we're creatures of habit because we get up, have breakfast, get the car, go to work, and repeat. And even, to be honest, this thing here has helped me a lot,
Awesome. So what results did you get after you learned the method and the methodology that you studied in the different modules of the program?
So, look, to make a joke, the first result is I gained insight. In the sense that I'm no longer sitting in front of the computer going crazy and looking at that millimeter of the candlestick where it's going. But apart from that, what changed my way of working quite a lot, a huge advantage was that I had less stress. And I also mean positive stress. The burden of doing messy trading in a home style or artisanal way. Above all, if I'm going to be honest, the stress of a profitable trade, because when you have an open position and you're gaining, and maybe you have a target that's close by, you're aiming at it, but then you start losing ground because, the market's like that. And that's when the stress is very high because you just don't know what to do, whether to close, whether to leave, whether to, on the other hand, when you have a losing trade, well, you already feel like you've suffered a loss. If you have your stop, well, that's the limit. And okay, the fact that you lose something that's potentially there and that you can gain is a stress. It took a lot out of me. Because now, let's say, I leave it up to the machine. It knows what to do. And I've given it the instructions. And I've decided everything beforehand. And so I don't even look at it. Let's say that I just let things go as they've been organized and planned. And that's my biggest gain, in my opinion, which is a no small matter from a psychological perspective.
Nice. Finally, I'm going to ask you, what would you say to people watching this interview and maybe still are undecided about whether or not to join the program?
So, regarding the undecided, it would be essential to understand the level of indecision, whether they are firmly or only a little uncertain. However, I would invite those who are undecided to understand the reason for their indecision. That is, what is the thing that prevents them, let's say, from jumping in, okay? In my opinion, it's a leap, because then you'll find everything we've said. It's essential to understand this and look for answers that can be found in the materials provided in the program, because it's really a lot. At the beginning, you can find the free stuff, from Andrea's book, or the videos, the reviews. You can also ask to be contacted by the team, who are super helpful 24/7, with basically someone there who is ready to give you the answer. In short, there is a lot of material that you can go through and try to solve this doubt. And then, try to understand the path that you want to take. If you want to become a professional footballer, earlier I was talking about football with some friends. I'm not a football expert, but if I wanted to learn football, I'd certainly, I wouldn't ask Ronaldo because he might not even open the door, but still, I'd go to someone who I know is very good. Not someone who just says that they're very good, right? I would like to see that they are good. And Andrea, you can see what he did and what he is doing. And so being mentored by someone who has already done this and who is an expert, who knows where you can get hurt, where you can go wrong, and who can give you the right direction. Because besides Andrea, there's also your team who, as operational students, did the program as well. So they know the problems that you can encounter, and all that stuff. And at a certain point, I would also advise to trust, because you feel the instinct and just go for it without overthinking. And if the doubt is considerable, well, just remove it. If the doubt is small, I would say, look, don't worry. I mean, I've heard so many people who were happy and positive about this program, and many have been in your place before you.
Excellent. Maurizio, it's been a pleasure, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Chelsea. It was a pleasure for me too, and I hope it's useful for someone.
Yes, of course. Happy trading.
Thank you very much. Happy trading to you too, and say hello to the team.
Excellent. Thank you.